Now, no one ought to shed a tear for General Soleimani, who is behind attacks and destabilizing efforts across the region. If there is one thing we have learned in our modern times about U.S. involvement abroad, it's that when you don't have a plan or know what you're doing, when you act when there could have been another way, taking out a bad guy is not necessarily a good idea.
Decision to remove Qasem Soleimani from the battlefield saved American lives.
I mean, he is really, if there is one personality and one guy in the Middle East that has been at the center of everything for the last 30 years, it's Soleimani.
هذا حوبة الشهداء اللي راحت ودم الشهداء والضحايا والشهداء العراقيين كلهم طلعت.
Today, obviously, there have been those, the threats on the embassy in Baghdad.
You're looking at live pictures. This is around the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. Massive protests, hundreds of people there surrounding, to the point that U.S. diplomatic staff, including the ambassador, have been evacuated for their own safety.
Soleimani has been, responsible for years have been attacks on Americans in Iraq.
Do you consider Iran an enemy of the United States?
I do not.
All American citizens are now walking prime targets.
The United States of America now assassinating a leader of a sovereign nation.
The killing of Soleimani, a revered figure in Iran and some other places in the Middle East.
An agreement had been reached worldwide that the U.S. unilaterally broke.
Completely no point. Iran. But everything was kind of calm for a while. Obama did something, and now he's stirring up Iran. Why?
Do you want to go through the? You know what? Do you want to go through the Iran deal?
Iran has now fulfilled key commitments under the nuclear deal.
It cuts off all the pathways for Iran getting a nuclear weapon.
Before the deal, it had installed nearly 20,000 centrifuges. Today, Iran has removed 2/3 of those machines.
This week acknowledged that they're building advanced centrifuges, and Iran's supreme leader announced earlier this week he's ordered preparations to increase uranium enrichment.
If Iran tries to cheat, they try to build a bomb covertly, we will catch them. A deal that will prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
Iran is not developing a nuclear weapon.
It's agreed to never ever pursue a nuclear weapon.
The Foreign Minister does say in the interview, we are not dismantling any centrifuges. We are not dismantling any equipment. President Rouhani said in a separate interview, we are not going to destroy any centrifuges.
Well, again,
are they going rogue on this deal?
How Iranian officials characterize this for a domestic audience, it matters far less to us.
They're just making these comments for domestic political consumption. CNN is broadcast outside of Iran, right? You could confirm.
Yeah, I've seen it here.
So aren't they also sending a message to you, to the president, to the U.S.? It's not just domestic political consumption if they're talking to a broader audience.
I don't speak Farsi.
Don't those two actions demonstrate both the weakness of the Iran deal, in the sense that they're so ready to start with the centrifuges and the enrichment of uranium, so, like that, and not to mention how insincere the Iranians were about it.
No, all it demonstrates is it's a response to what Trump did.
Are you considering allowing such transactions? And if so, is that not a betrayal of your assurances that most U.S. sanctions would stay in place?
That's not taking. Let me say broadly that so long as Iran is carrying out its end of the bargain, we think it's important for the world community to carry out our end of the bargain. They have, in fact, based on the presentations that were made by the IAEA this morning to the P5+1, have in fact followed the implementation steps that were laid out.
The Obama administration actively misled Congress about an effort to help Iran before the deal was signed.
We are going to have to find ways to help Iran get access to its own money.
Even before the deal was signed?
No, this is part of how the deal was implemented and keeping.
But the deal had not yet been signed when you lifted the sanctions on that $5.7 billion.
No, this was part of our commitment as we were negotiating the deal. It was Iran's own money that they had to get access to.
Iran released 5 Americans who were unjustly detained on Iranian soil.
Was this money ransom for the folks that were released?
No, it was not. It is against the policy of the United States to pay ransom for hostages. This all came to a head at the same time.
Everything was kind of calm for a while. Obama did something.
Look, sometimes hypocrisy is just hitting you so hard in the face you don't know what to do with it.